In the ultimate social experiment, I put some of Minecraft's best players in a nuclear winter known for its freezing temperatures along with abnormal levels of radiation. The players will discover more of the ugly truth behind the root cause of the nuclear winter, but what they did know was that the military had decided to play God and perform experiments on the ghouls, a humanoid mutant. The stories passed down over the generations have suggested that the ghouls were once humans that had heavy exposure to radiation. The radiation has sparked something far deeper, a creature that leads the mutants of the city, a creature that was able to think for its own kind instead of being a weapon for the military. They call it the Alpha Ghoul. The players were given no guidance whatsoever, and the decisions they ended up making was entirely up to them. Will player politics get in the way of their mission? Will players start to lose their morality as they adapt to the harsh reality of this world? The things that ended up happening in this event were insane. I present to you the Nuclear Winter Experiment. Right off the bat, the players were divided into 3 groups, all of which had their own unique starting bunker, motives, and missions to complete to win the event. One of the groups, calling themselves the Purists, has set their ultimate goal to eradicate the Alpha Ghoul, last reported to be trapped in an invulnerable hive buried in the far south of the city. The hive has been disguised as a nuclear power plant by the military to hide their failed experiment. Believing that the world would be purified from the monsters and mutants after the Alpha Ghoul's death, the team had planned to nuke the nuclear power plant by triggering a missile locked behind 3 launch codes to burst open a direct path to the Alpha Ghoul. On the other side of the main city, another team by the name of New Evolutionists had their base of operations. The New Evolutionists believed that the best way to survive this apocalypse was to adapt to its harsh environments. One of the essentials was to gain resistance to the radiation, and in order to do that, they planned to extract the Alpha Ghoul's DNA while using a special DNA extractor along with a machine called the Serum Fabricator to create a radiation-resistant serum. The final team was located on the border of the city. They called themselves the Reactionaries. They treated themselves as outcasts and believed that the Alpha Ghoul has been hidden away by the military for a good reason, and they did not intend to go anywhere near the Alpha Ghoul. However, they wanted to find a long-term source of energy, and with the abundance of radiation, they planned to build a nuclear reactor right in their bunker in order to rebuild civilization. Before intel about each team's first mission was revealed, the players were given some time to adjust to the apocalypse, and as expected, they all jumped into their survival instincts and started to loot the surrounding buildings for the limited resources and food. So it was up to the teams to use their numbers wisely, splitting up the tasks of mining, gathering food, and gearing themselves up to defend themselves against any hostile mobs or perhaps an enemy team. Naturally, as expected, leaders started to form within every team. The New Evolutionist has elected a dual leadership approach in order to maintain checks and balances, with a player named Shadow and Mindless leading the team. The leadership of Shadow and Mindless was effective. They were able to use their power to split their teams into smaller groups, sending out scouts to discover more of the map and tasking certain players to mine and collect resources. The leaders themselves, on the other hand, were occupied with high-priority tasks. A vital deal was being discussed. Shadow and Mindless has been using their charisma to lure a solo player named Red into helping them fulfill their goals, and with things seemingly going well for the New Evolutionists, other teams start to notice their dominant presence around the city. The Purists had a much slower start to the event, struggling to keep up with the mutated mobs around their bunker and needing to constantly stay warm from the cold. But in regards to their leadership structure, they had a slightly different approach, with a more democratic election, making a player named Wasbeer as their leader. It was clear to see why Wasbeer was elected. He was clever. He had instructed his team to avoid the confiscated city and decided to move away from the New Evolutionists and the Reactionaries, and he headed to the suburban areas just west of the main city. The Purists' capture of the town seemed to have leveled the playing field. They were able to get good weapons, food, and some clothes to stay warm. The reactionaries wanted to stay under the radar and did not elect a leader, a very risky play in the eyes of others, but this would play a vital role in the outcome of the reactionaries. Anyways, in order to craft their nuclear reactor, they had to move around the map in search of scraps and blocks, so the team started to collect their materials. The reactionaries planned to not get involved in any interaction with the other teams, and this approach was seemingly making more and more sense as the other two teams start to have some conflicts. One of the Purist members was exploring the city and accidentally stumbled into one of the New Evolutionists' building, triggering a landmine within the building. Some members of the New Evolutionists were rightfully agitated by the explosion and demanded an explanation from the Purists. As the New Evolutionists eagerly waited for an answer, the aura around the world shifted. Tension was building, discussions were held, and the Purists responded to the call with complete silence. As the players continued to survive and thrive in the harsh aftermath of a nuclear winter, some crucial information emerged. The location of their first missions were revealed. The New Evolutionists was the first team to pounce on this opportunity, as the leaders of Shadow and Mindless headed to the hospital. The hospital's basement was once used to conduct experiments on the original ghoul specimens. Now, the area has been infested with the ghouls after the hospital shut down, and this is where the New Evolutionist comes in search of a DNA extractor and more information about the serum fabricator in the hospital. In the meantime, the Purists had arrived at their first military base that held one of their launch codes for their mission, specifically the Alpha Code.
Okay, we need to go back. We need to go back right now. I got diamond armor. God damn.
With the reactionaries, communication remained quiet. They did not want to reveal the status of their mission too much, but they seemed to be successful in collecting their mission item. Back to the New Evolutionists, they were still going to the hospital, getting closer and closer to the doctor's note and the DNA extractor, but with some members of the Purists starting to infiltrate the hospital in hopes of stealing the mission item, Shadow and Mindless were in a bit of a time crunch.
Yeah, there's these two red guys that are just chilling here.
Oh,
right,
that's the DNA extractor.
I got it. Did you get the note?
Oh yes, I did. Sorry. I think we need to get the...
you get out.
Fast.
Left, no, here.
While I was following the New Evolutionists, I started to notice that some of their members by the name of Grogneck and FaZe has been missing for a while and seem to have lost contact with their leaders, so I decided to check up on them to see what was going on.
We're supposed to be the scouts. Issue is, everything we keep finding hurts us. Found some radiation, found some freezing to death, found some bugs.
A big koala bear, that was a bit scary.
You know, usual apocalypse
and we found
stuff.
some frostbite.
So more like scouts, more like useless?
Hey, I'm useless! I'll have you know that I'm the most integral part of this operation, as I'm the only one with the knowledge of the wasteland.
Well, I can't wait to see you two die.
What about me, Grogneck? That's not fair.
In the nick of time, I was able to attend a group meeting where the New Evolutionist was reading the doctor's note they found in the hospital in hopes of locating the serum fabricator.
I'm gonna give it like a real dramatic reading. They took the serum fabricator. We think they took it up to the road to the Lone Pine farmstead. But it's probably heavily fortified with raiders. Everything went to hell when the bombs dropped, and my lab mates have been exhibiting signs of possible infection. God help us all for what we've made. If the military hadn't asked us to make a biological weapon, we wouldn't have, but we needed the money, and they needed the anonymity of a small town to develop a dangerous tool. Signed, Dr. Griffin Thatcher.
May your soul rest in peace, Dr. Thatcher. But after that shocking revelation about the military's malicious intent, the tiny farm up north of the city was the New Evolutionist's new target. The serum fabricator was hidden in the basement of one of the farmhouses. After all the teams has cooled down from the aftermath of their first missions, there was a period of peace upon the world. As the stress of mission items cooled down for a bit, all the teams started to ramp up their preparations for the second mission, continuing to deal with the dangerous mutants and, worst of all, other players.
Don't know if you're friendly or not. Oh, okay. I guess your teammates aren't. Okay. Oh god.
Come on,
Oh,
fight them.
God.
You got time an hour. It's time and you're a coward. You're running so much. Come on, Waspir. Show them who's
Access,
boss.
Come on, I have all my stuff.
Under the radar, some solo players have been using all this time to prepare to cause chaos, and Red has been planning to start a proxy war all this time.
If you spawn a mob here, I'm going to cry.
Nevertheless, with all the shenanigans the players were up to, I got distracted with the reactionaries and I ended up on a house tour?
Alright, fantastic. This house is amazing. It's meant for like 2 people, so be
Okay.
anybody here if you find anybody. So far, we have this fantastic window of your neighbor who is currently covered in snow, whether that be radioactive or not.
What? There's a frog
It's a
out there.
beautiful apocalypse. No, the wildlife here is beautiful. A completely empty house. It's for your imagination.
How much do you want? I'm sold.
Well, I don't know, peculiar order, but I'm feeling generous. 2 hazmat masks?
Right before the new evolutionists headed out to the farm, apparently FaZe was stuck in a bunker, and this gave Grognek and Hunt a reason to abandon their team. Suspicions started to rise. It couldn't be a coincidence that Grognek was always staying away from Shadow and Mindless, but the new evolutionists were underway with tracking the serum fabricator anyway. This time, they were accompanied by Red. Unknown to Shadow and Mindless, Red was not here to assist their mission, but much rather to drive his agenda against the teams. Red was about to pull off the heist of the century. He had manipulated the new evolutionists to deal with the raiders around the house, where he went around the house, dug down a little pathway to the basement of the house, the same basement where the valuable serum fabricator was stored. The night was long. The Purists had sent one of their players to swiftly make the journey to the second military base where Code Bravo was held. Code Bravo was pretty easily obtained, and the Purist was even able to get access to better weapons from the military base with things like chainsaws and hazmat suits. And the night became more and more memorable when Grognek and Hunt was able to find FaZe in the bunker that he was supposedly trapped in, and their true intentions start to unveil themselves.
FaZe, come here, bud. Right, listen. Those
Found a bunch
those
of redstone
idiots!
stuff.
They're gonna do it without us, FaZe. All they're gonna do, they're gonna cure the wasteland, and then they're gonna make everyone like DMV land.
Are they
It's Shadow,
going
it's
against
Shadow.
us?
He's corrupt.
Wait, what?
Yes, he's against us, FaZe. He's against us, FaZe. We need to get him. You two, Hunter Cos, are you with
Go,
us?
guys.
The teams were progressing faster than ever. The Purist was able to get their launch codes in, and the bond between the Purists was at an all-time high, contrary to the new evolutionists. But despite the hurdles, they were doing pretty well with their mission. Everyone else was able to spend the night looting buildings, crash sites, and continue to fight off the dangerous mutants that spawned during the nights. The new evolutionists were still unaware of Red taking the serum fabricator and held another meeting to read the note in the house for their next mission, thinking that they had the serum fabricator in their possession. But Red did announce in chat that he had the serum fabricator, which was a rule in the event, so during the meeting, I reminded the new evolutionists about that. I don't know if you've paid attention to chat, but it looks like a certain little Red Grummel has announced that he has a serum fabricator in his possession.
Oh,
That's why there was a thunder.
A meeting between Red and the new evolutionists was set up after the shocking revelation was revealed, but unknown to the new evolutionists, Red had decided to pay a visit to the Purists the night before the meeting. Red had stirred some lies towards the Purists, blaming the new evolutionists for launching an attack on one of their reindeers, and sneakily was able to throw the serum fabricator into Waspier's inventory. In the midst of the chaos, radiation levels were getting disturbed with player activity. Radioactivity is at an all-time high at the evacuated cities, towns, houses, and the map overall. The players did not know what was coming to them. The players will soon discover the whole truth of the situation, why this place has been abandoned in the first place, and the sinister reason behind the Alpha Ghoul's existence. The next day, the meeting was planned to be held in a neutral building beside the hospital, and it was tense. Red and Mindless was face to face, and when Red revealed that the serum fabricator was with the Purists, Mindless had lost his mind. Red's plan may ended up being the only catalyst left for the new evolutionist's downfall, because I checked up on Grognak, FaZe, and Hunt, and we chatted some gossip about their dislike for Shadow and Mindless, but completely out of the blue, this happened.
I don't want Shadow leadership in charge. This guy sounds worse.
Well, he's the only ticket to prevent Shadow from taking over the world. I think a meeting with him would be suitable.
Access.
What? Oh,
Hey man,
Hey guys.
you alright?
you guys finally met.
Yeah.
Oh no, we made a start. Oh, what's
We've been
this?
stranded out here for so
Grognak, I
long.
think you want some stim packs.
Oh, that's
Oh
nice.
my gosh, you actual savior. Thank you, my friend.
That is the truly leadership.
Take some halberds.
Thank you. Oh,
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate it very much.
No problem.
How have you been?
Well, I've been with Pikachu and Mindless, looting a lot of stuff, but we need a serum fabricator.
Who has it?
Dopper, but he doesn't answer any
There you
of
are.
my messages.
Okay. I have an idea. How many crossbows
Alright.
do we have? our disposal.
I have one.
Okay, hear me out. Me and FaZe approached this Doppler, claiming to be some people who aren't. Let's say let's pretend that I'm going to betray you. Okay, we approached
Alright.
Doppler asking for the reactor or to at least help out. From the distance, you snipe him, we'll kill him, and then we'll grab it for ourselves. How's that sound?
That sounds perfect.
I ask one thing of you. When we get this fabricator and this serum, you will not take us back to a world where people live in cramped houses and work minimum wage jobs for no reason. You will let this world be free.
If that's the cost, then so be it.
A brotherhood formed with French fries. Weird, but hey, I guess they did the best out of the situation, considering the fact that they are in a nuclear winter. But anyways, after witnessing all of that, the new evolutionists may have gotten a little bit of a setback.
So the evolutionists attacked me, and then my game crashed, and then I froze to death, and then I had to run back and get my stuff, and now I'm being hunted down by the new evolutionists, so I'm gonna blow up their bunker. I think it's actually right here.
It was now the ultimate meetup. The leader of the purists, Waspierre, had agreed to meet up with the new evolutionists to strike a deal about the serum fabricator. Waspierre had wanted a peaceful solution to all of this, only offering to bring his bodyguard with a really difficult name to pronounce. But anyways, he was this Frenchman that has always been by Waspierre's side no matter what. Who would have guessed? Of course the meeting didn't go well. So obviously that didn't go well for him. But good news for the purists, the rest of the members that didn't attend the meeting went for the final Charlie code. And now the purists have got the leverage. they can now launch the missile any time from this point. I checked back with the new evolutionists after what they did to the purists, and as expected, Mindless and Grognak butted heads during the meeting, and despite Mindless warning everybody to cut ties with the purists, Grognak went behind Mindless's back and went to meet up with the purists.
What is it? What's the deal, huh?
You know, you kind of stabbed me in the back, quite literally, with this ginormous axe. You know, I tried to negotiate with you for this one item. All I asked was food, you know.
That's true though.
Because
That's
yeah,
true.
I
don't
wanted
know.
that.
I empathize with you. The real issue is, unfortunately, I'm not the leader of our
You're really
team.
gonna eat that food right in front of me.
Oh yeah, sorry. Sorry. I'm not the leader of our team yet. So any decision I make would be going against the team.
I had to quickly cut short on the discussions between Waspir and Grognak. The purists had alerted me that they were ready to place all the launch codes. Alpha, Bravo, Charlie. The timer has started. Now the whole world, every single player knows 20 minutes until the missile launches to burst open the Alpha Ghoul's hive. The purists were gathering together to make the long travel to the nuclear power plant, ready to kill the Alpha Ghoul. The reactionaries, whom we haven't checked in for a while, still haven't built their reactor, but they were on their last mission to collect the remaining blocks on the recipe. The new evolutionists has made their last quick run to a raider camp, the final location to collect their blaze powder that they needed for the serum. The new evolutionists had to extract the Alpha Ghoul's blood before the missile strike, because once the hive opens up, the DNA of the Alpha Ghoul no longer becomes resistant to radiation. The nuclear power plant was now the battlefield for all the teams. The new evolutionists gathered all their teammates and rushed to the site as soon as possible. They entered the area, which has actually been guarded by the purists, but most of the purists' members were actually on the other side of the power plant waiting for the missile. The new evolutionists did not have time to engage in war, but rather find the secret entrance in one of the cooling towers that would dive them right into the hive, into the home of the Alpha Ghoul. Shadow and Mindless were well underway with the extraction process. They headed into the hive while the rest of the crew stuck around the cooling tower protecting it. Unaware to the new evolutionists who were still down in the hive, the purist's commander, Waspir, had given me the signal to launch the missile. So, as per his word, it launched. Literally, a few seconds after the new evolutionist's successful capture of the Alpha Ghoul's DNA, the missile hit. The new evolutionists were seconds away from losing the event, but now they got hope. The new evolutionists had to make one last journey back to their bunker to make the serum with the serum fabricator to win the event, but they had to be quick now because the purists were going for the Alpha Ghoul's head. The purists' win was short-lived. The players finally found out the truth about the Alpha Ghoul. The Alpha Ghoul was trapped in the hive by the military because it was inevitable. The hive being open has caused unbalanced chemical reactions in the environment. This nuclear winter never had a solution in the first place, Players were meant to find a way to live in this world, but now messing around with the Alpha Ghoul's hive, they had made the world completely and totally inhabitable. The world was now set for complete radiation. It was now all man for himself, no more teaming, and everyone was in hardcore. However, there was a contingency plan set up by the military. There were cryogenic pods as a last resort for anyone in the area in case the hive was to be opened, and the coordinates about the hidden pods was revealed to everyone. But the players knew there was only 9 spots. This is the final run to the finish line for the players, a run for their lives.